lot of people wonder what a hypnotherapy session is like with me, because I am a lot different than a regular hypnotist. Because a regular hypnotist will lull you into a trance and then try and give you suggestions for the things you came in for. And a lot of times this works great because they're getting suggestions into the subconscious mind. But a lot of times it doesn't last very long, or it's ineffective. And that's because inside of them already they have such a big block, big issue, a perception, a feeling inside that no matter how many suggestions you throw at them, it's just like throwing darts at a brick wall. It's not going to break it down. So with me in my hypnotherapy sessions, I don't lull you into a trance at all, because you've already got an issue stuck inside you already. I want to empower you to be able to do what you want to do. So I teach you how to release the feeling. See, what happens is you have something happens, an incident happens, and then you get a feeling about it that wraps around that perception, and then it locks in place. Let's say it's perception that you're ugly. Well, somewhere along the line, somebody told you that you were ugly. You got a perception, and then you got a feeling of sadness or guilt or anger that locked that perception in place. Now, it doesn't matter what anybody says, you still have that inner belief inside of you because it's stuck inside of you, and your mind goes out and looks for things to support what's inside of it. It's programs already. So I teach you how to release these feelings so your perception can change, so you can see that maybe in this instance it wasn't even you that they were talking about. It was somebody else, but you took it wrong. See, nobody has actually ever done anything wrong. Everybody always does the best they can with what they have, with their feelings and perceptions they have at that moment in time. I teach you how to find the good in everything, because there is something good in everything. Even if it's from a beating, to a habit you've got, to a breakup that you're trying to do, to trying to be better, there's always a feeling inside that keeps you from doing that. I teach you how to release that feeling, and it empowers you so you can go and do anything you want to do. Because I'm after a healing, I'm not after trying to make you overcome something. I'm after you healing the past so you can be who you want to be. One of the examples I like to do, and I like to pick on myself so I'm never interfering with anybody's personal lives, and that was me. See, I grew up always feeling inferior and dumb. And it didn't matter what my grades were, it didn't matter that I got a 99 on a test, I always felt dumb and inferior. I'd always pick on that 1% I didn't get. Well, in my hypnotherapy that I do and that I teach, I do a lot of regression, and I go back there to release issues. So in my regression for my issue, I go down to age 7, and it's Christmas morning, it's happy, it's exciting, you know, just like a 7-year-old would be. And I run down there and I open presents up, and it's just, you know, the happiest Christmas ever. And my dad that year gave me a big microscope set, and it had everything. It had, you know, this real glass slides and gadgets and tweezers and droppers and brine shrimp and chemicals and a lot of things like that. And I was just into this, and I really made a pretty big mess of it being a 7-year-old with this big microscope set. Well, my dad comes around the corner and he sees this big mess and he yells at me for making such a big mess of it. And I really feel dumb and inferior, as I'm sure you can see, because I just made a big mess of this big microscope set. I mean, you know, it's just a horrible feeling. And I locked that perception in place that I'm dumb and inferior, that it was too big for me. Well, I teach you how to release these feelings. Release these feelings off of this perception. So when the feelings are gone, the perception can change. So I just count down from 3 to 1. As I do, your mind takes us back to the scene, situation, or event. 3, 2, 1, and there we are. And there I am again, 7 years old. Christmas morning, I run down there, I open the presents. So I get lots of presents, but I get that big microscope set. So I go in on the table and I take it all apart, and it has all the brine shrimp and glass and slides and chemicals and everything in it, and it's just make a big mess on the table of it. And my dad comes around the corner and he yells at me, but I realize he's yelling at me because he loves me. He's yelling at me because he wants to be with me in creating that bond, that relationship. That's why he bought me such a big microscope set, is because we can do it together. I didn't realize that, because my perception was that he was yelling at me because I was inferior, I was dumb. But that wasn't it at all. And that's how people can change their lives in my hypnotherapy sessions. As I go back to the core issues that people have, they may not even consciously remember. If they did, you know, whether they do or not doesn't matter. But we go back to these issues where we can change what really happened, and allows your perception to change because we release the feelings. It's an empowerment session that I do. It's a healing session. And that's why my hypnotherapy is so much different than everybody else's. I don't lull you into a trance to try and give you suggestions for the things you want to do. I go back to your core issues of why you are the way you are and help you heal those issues inside of you so you can be who you want to be, so you can do the right things at the right time, at the right moment, for the right reasons, so you can be anything.